Hey, it's Jason Moon with NHPR's Document Team. We've got a news story for you. It's by my colleague, Todd Bookman. You might remember Todd from our series, The Final Days of Sergeant Tibbs, one of my favorites. Todd has this knack for rooting out the unexpected. And recently, he started looking into a violent robbery that took place in Derry, New Hampshire last year. And he was able to piece together this sprawling, intricate criminal network, one that's been quietly operating out of warehouses spread across New Hampshire. Todd's reporting on this has been turning heads. Even Sarah Jessica Parker commented on Instagram about it. Yeah, that one. And if it's good enough for her, we think it's good enough for you too. Anyway, here's the story from Todd.
On May 19th, last year, a 41-year-old guy named Gui Lin is unloading boxes from his car. It's daylight, just before lunch, in the parking lot of some industrial units in Derry. Suddenly, a U-Haul pulls up, stops in front of Gui Lin's car. 3 men get out. 2 are carrying knives. The third has duct tape. There's a struggle. Gui Lin is stabbed multiple times. Another man comes running from a warehouse to try and help. The attackers slash at him too. The U-Haul drives off. Gui Lin dies at a hospital less than 2 hours later.
There was a shoe in the parking lot. We thought someone got hit by a car. You know what I mean? Because we just saw the ambulance fire, and so we looked out the window. But I didn't even see a person or anything. There was just like a shoe in the middle of the parking lot.
This is Lisa, a neighbor. She says police swarmed the area. She remembers caution tape up at the scene for a week. There was news coverage of the stabbing, but no real explanation for what happened.
Somehow that guy knew him, or he was targeted, something along those lines.
Lisa's right. This wasn't a random event. The men with the knives and duct tape had been staking out the warehouse. They tried to break into it earlier that morning. They wanted what was inside.
I would imagine it would be money or drugs or something. Who the hell knows? You know what I mean?
It turns out, though, that what was in that warehouse were millions of dollars worth of Apple iPhones.
Really?
It isn't clear if the 3 attackers knew Gui Lin, but they knew what he had. That morning alone, 672 brand new iPhones were delivered to the warehouse. During the past few years, law enforcement has uncovered a vast criminal syndicate organized by Chinese nationals. A multi-step global scheme involving stolen gift cards, warehouses, huge amounts of cardboard, and tens of millions of dollars worth of Apple products. Gui Lin was killed outside one of the warehouses that served as a kind of way station in the whole network. And there are other warehouses too, spread across New Hampshire, humdrum industrial sites with big garage bays. New Hampshire, of all places, authorities say, is the epicenter of this global criminal operation. And that's in large part for a simple reason: no sales tax. Part 1, the scheme. Court records lay out how everything works. There are multiple steps, from the US to China and back to New Hampshire. But it all starts with gift cards. Chinese nationals are accused of going into stores, not just in New Hampshire, but around the country, and stealing gift cards right off the shelf, like an Amazon or Starbucks card. The thieves then scratch off the protective covering on the gift card, copy down the account number or PIN into a computer program, and then repackage the card. Then they slip the gift card back onto store shelves. So when someone looking for a gift for their grandson, their niece, brings the card to the register, adds $50, the scammers get an automatic alert from that computer program about money being loaded into the account. They withdraw it or spend that money immediately. Poof. Now you've got all this illicit money. You need to wash it. Part 2, the purchases. The money moves quickly. The scammers transfer the stolen gift card money into their own accounts, or they'll enter the gift card numbers during checkout when they buy Apple products online. According to court records, the scammers may use multiple stolen gift cards to purchase a single iPhone. The gift cards are sold in Walmarts, CVS's, Dollar Generals in the US, but they're redeemed, cashed out essentially, by thieves in China and Hong Kong. Each phone, or sometimes iPad or Apple TV, is purchased with a made-up name, but they're shipped to specific warehouses in New Hampshire, tax-free. There was also at least one bust made in Oregon, another state without a sales tax. If you can save, 6-7%, why not? And that really adds up because the scale of this is mind-boggling. Apple turned over records to police showing that a single warehouse in Wyndham had received more than 46,000 devices over a 10-week period in 2025. That's $47 million worth of Apple products, 600,000 a day, to this one location, a nondescript warehouse. A different warehouse in Amherst saw nearly $35 million worth of deliveries over that same window. And it's inside these warehouses that the third part of this scheme happens. Part 3, repackaging. Chinese nationals are working and in some cases crashing inside of warehouses, rented spaces with garage bays in Wyndham, in Seabrook, Londonderry, Jaffrey, Hampstead, Amherst. Inside these units, workers receive the new Apple products from UPS or FedEx. They unbox the products, getting paid between $5 and $10 per device, according to court records. They then consolidate all of the iPhones and iPads into larger boxes, anonymous brown boxes ready for exporting. There are ledgers and group chats used to keep track. The amount of cardboard involved is obscene.
That was a problem. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This is someone who rented a bay next to one of the repackaging warehouses. We agreed not to use his name because he's afraid for his safety. He says the cardboard was a constant problem because no other tenants could use the dumpster. In one of the more colorful details from the police reports, authorities on a stakeout actually reported watching a Tesla Cybertruck get filled with flattened boxes, which then get taken to the dump.
I feel like they got bold at some point and started scaling.
And while they weren't advertising what they were doing, they weren't exactly hiding it.
I could see a guy repackaging a phone the entire day.
Like you just looked in and could see people.
Yeah, they never blocked off the windows. I blocked them off at some point because I'm not concerned with this, so whatever. But yeah, I could see what they were doing, yeah.
Wow.
So, once the devices are repackaged, consolidated, the warehouse workers will then go to UPS or FedEx to ship them to their next destination. Often, it's to an exporter in Florida. Sometimes it's elsewhere. Authorities say the devices are being sent to China, to Dubai, and to South America, where they're resold for profit. Everyone makes money along the way. Until they got busted. The first crack in this case, in New Hampshire, appears to have come a few days after Christmas, 2023. A person from Alabama contacted Concord PD. Somehow a gift card they'd purchased 1,200 miles away had just been used inside a Concord Walmart. Police would trace the transaction to Mingdong Chen. A search of a Nashua apartment found $30,000 in cash and a large number of Apple products. Then, while police were inside the apartment, UPS shows up. More packages. Eventually, police ended up at a warehouse in Salem packed with 4,000 phones. Just counting and logging the devices took police 3 full days. Since that first bust, Homeland Security has partnered with multiple police agencies to stage arrests. To date, police have charged at least 19 people in New Hampshire and identified 13 warehouses. Federal, state, and local law enforcement all declined interview requests. A lot of these criminal cases are still ongoing.
Good morning, folks. You can be seated.
But at one recent court hearing, a Concord detective detailed the scheme. The detective's name is Stephen Carter. He says New Hampshire's lack of a sales tax, combined with its proximity to New York, seems to have made the state a hotbed.
And on top of that, our relatively rural nature also allowed this activity to fly under the radar for quite some time. For example,
Carter thinks there may be hundreds, possibly thousands of people involved in this internationally.
One person can't be the person loading the gift cards, making the purchases, arranging the shipping. Everyone plays their part.
Everyone plays their part. This is organized crime in the sense that, it's organized. But at least according to what's publicly available, there doesn't seem to be a single identified ringleader. It's sprawling, diffuse. Of those arrested, some of those 19 people have pleaded guilty and been deported. Most of the warehouse workers have been accused of receiving stolen property. That's the charge. And this is where some defense attorneys see an opening.
The accusation is receiving stolen property.
Right.
Who says the phones are stolen?
That's a good question. Nobody knows. So we are arguing.
Because how can you have stolen property if nobody has reported them stolen?
Correct.
Ming-Li Chen is a perpetually busy New York-based defense attorney. He somehow keeps driving all the way up to Brentwood, New Hampshire for hearings that take less than 10 minutes. As Chen points out, nobody has actually reported the devices as stolen. Apple hasn't. The company is getting its money. The gift cards are stolen, yeah, but that's not what the warehouse workers are accused of. Chen is defending a man named Yi Soon, who actually had his charges dropped over a technicality. Soon and another person allegedly helped operate 2 warehouses in Seabrook, those weigh stations where the phones were unboxed and then repackaged for shipment overseas. Soon's partner allegedly drove the Tesla Cybertruck that made the dump runs. Chen says his client was, quote, naive about the ins and outs of how all this worked.
I think he was doing everything in his power to make it legitimate. He didn't realize, he didn't know something odd. He was just a normal worker hired by the employer.
Apple, for its part, is now well aware of all this. Court records show Apple turned over order and shipping data to police, but it's not clear what the company is doing to stop the sales to begin with. Someone uploads a dozen different gift cards into an Apple wallet on the same day. Thousands of phones shipped to a random address in New Hampshire that isn't a certified reseller. Maybe I'm naive, but it would appear the company should have or could have flagged this. And maybe they are now, or maybe not. Apple declined to answer any questions. Tens of millions of dollars worth of Apple products moving through New Hampshire. People are going to talk. The iPhones have become repeated targets of theft. In Manchester, a FedEx driver was shoved to the ground while she was delivering phones to a warehouse. A UPS facility in Nashua was robbed at midnight. 600 phones were taken. In April of last year, 5 men traveled up from the New York area to break into a warehouse in Londonderry. They zip-tied an employee. They demanded to know where the phones were. Turns out the phones were in the unit next door, but they didn't know that. Instead, they made off with designer clothes and purses. One of those alleged robbers, a 20-year-old from Queens named Marco Jr. Marquez Vera, would come back and try again. A month later, he hit up a warehouse in Derry. He came with accomplices, knives, and duct tape. Vera is accused of killing Gui Lin in the parking lot. He and others fled in the U-Haul. According to court records, Vera then Googled the phrase, "Does forensics being there mean someone died?" He also Googled, quote, "Does Spain work with USA for criminals?" Turns out it does. Because a few months after the stabbing, Vera was arrested in Madrid. He's been extradited and now awaits trial in New Hampshire. A vast criminal conspiracy involving hundreds, maybe thousands of people. Hundreds of millions maybe in stolen gift card money. Untold millions more in Apple products. All of it being carried out discreetly in New Hampshire warehouses by Chinese nationals. What started as a financial crime has turned into violent crime. The cops aren't talking as they try to root out whatever may be left of the operations. But one thing is pretty clear. Anyone who buys a gift card off the rack should look that thing over closely, see if it's been tampered with. Or else, you may wind up paying for an iPhone you're never going to see. The story was reported and produced by me, Todd Bookman. It was edited by Dan Barrick and Katie Colinari, with help from Jason Moon, Lauren Chulgin, and Daniela Ali. Digital production support from Casey McDermott, Elena Eberwine, and Sarah Plord. This is a production of the Document Team at New Hampshire Public Radio.
From artificial intelligence to the gig economy to global volatility, the economy is changing at a dizzying pace. Enter the Managing the Future of Work podcast, the chart-topping and critically acclaimed podcast from Harvard Business School, hosted by me, Bill Kerr, and by Managing the Future of Work project co-chair, Joe Fuller. This show explores technology trends, demographic changes, the rise of the care economy, and many other forces transforming the landscape of work. We'll highlight the insights of business leaders, technologists, and experts like Business Roundtable's Kristen Silberg on corporate workforce strategy, and Khan Academy founder Sal Khan on AI, education, and the future of work. With more than 2.5 million downloads and close to 300 episodes, there is something for everyone. Follow HBS Managing the Future of Work on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening now.
Have you ever wondered why Reese Witherspoon founded Hello Sunshine, or where Kevin O'Leary got his start, or even how Alex Earle became the most accessible founder to someone who may not even consider this space? Enter The Founder Mindset, a new podcast from Harvard Business School Foundry, hosted by me, Reza Satchu. As a leading educator in entrepreneurship, I've built multiple high-profile companies and mentored thousands of students and founders through the realities of starting and scaling ventures. And with the Founder Mindset, I'm sharing those lessons with you by sitting down with world-class entrepreneurs, including Witherspoon, O'Leary, and Earle, plus Tim Ferriss, and many more, to break down exactly how they commit, decide, and build for impact. These aren't surface-level interviews. Each episode, I challenge my guests to revisit their toughest moments, their boldest decisions, and the mindset that carried them through. Follow The Founder Mindset wherever you get your podcasts.